Hey everybody, it's Grant, and today we are going to be diving into another Stephan video where he says he's going to show us with $0 to start how to become a millionaire in 10 years. If you've ever wanted to build wealth, if you ever have wanted to be a millionaire, if you've ever actually struggled just trying to get started, here's the video for you. I will also hopefully be adding some very good little nuggets in this video as well. So between me and Graham, let's show you how to become a millionaire within the next 10 years.
What's up, Graham? It's Guys here. So here's the deal. It was recently found that real wages have barely budged in decades. More than half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and the poorest 70% of U.S. households don't even have a savings account. However, there is some good news because a survey reported that Americans would need $500,000 to feel financially secure and $1 million to retire. So in this video, we're going to be talking about...
Personally, we'll go ahead and start with this. I don't think $1 million is enough to retire these days. Cost of living going up, inflation going up, everything going up. And then understand right now, it's probably going to go back down, just like building materials did back in 2020 and all the way until a couple months ago. And they're still up on many things. Things are still going to always be more expensive. Cost of living is going to be more expensive. So I know I'm already starting you with bad news, but you need more than $1 million.
About how to do exactly that, starting from nothing in 10 years. I know that sounds extremely far-fetched, but it's entirely possible, and these are my own recommendations from personal experience that I've learned firsthand. Because there are some step-by-step rules that anyone can follow that work incredibly well, that don't cost you a single penny if you have the goal of calling yourself a millionaire exactly 10 years from today. Although really quick, if you enjoy topics like this, it would help me out tremendously if you hit the like button or subscribe if you
I already did that. You're welcome.
Haven't done that already. Doing that gives me a really good indication of whether or not I should make more videos like this in the future, so let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and now let's begin. To start, before we go into the steps that you could take, I'm first going to tell you how I was able to build $1 million net worth by the age of 26 years old without coming from a wealthy family, without any inheritance, and without posting a single YouTube video on how to get rich. Because despite me now making a lot of money, talking on YouTube about how to make a lot of money, that's not how it initially started. My first foray into making money came when I was about 16 years old, working a part-time job throughout high school.
Look at baby Graham. That you don't look the same at all.
At the time, I was paid $1 for every picture I took in Photoshop at a marine aquarium wholesaler. So instead of being paid for my time, I was paid on results. On a really good day, if I was focused, I'd be able to make anywhere from $80 to $120 for about 5 to 8 hours worth of work, and I loved it. Now, I don't usually recommend that other teenagers follow this advice, but I would usually skip school, work weekends, and take every holiday as an opportunity to earn even more. From there, I decided not to pursue college and instead use some of those savings to get licensed as a real estate agent so I could do that full-time. Even though I didn't know anyone in the industry and I hadn't the slightest clue what I was doing, I would spend every weekend going to open houses and asking other agents how they were able to grow their business. And by pure luck, I met an agent who allowed me to work underneath him, help him out with whatever he needed, and whatever business I brought in would be split 50-50. From that point on, I spent the next 4 years working 10 to 12-hour days, 7 days a week, taking on any business I could and saving as much money as I earned. Since I was entirely paid on commission, my income was extremely inconsistent, so I took saving and personal finance extremely seriously. I budgeted every penny that went into and out of my account. I wouldn't spend money unless I absolutely had to, and I treated every dollar as though it was the last dollar that I would earn. But it paid off. Within 4 years, I had about $200,000 saved up from a combination of a growing clientele, a few very fortunate listings, and the frugality to resist the urge to spend it. It was around this time that I noticed my wealthiest clients had begun to invest in real estate, and after I helped one of them buy a property in San Bernardino, it hit me. I should be doing this too. So I spent months seeing potential properties every single weekend and writing lowball offers on every single home that came on the market within a certain criteria. But in doing so, I was able to purchase 3 bank-owned properties that I subsequently renovated and then rented out. From there, I continued reinvesting as much as I could. I slowly began to increase my business as a real estate agent. I took on higher price listings. My past clients began referring me even more business, and all of a sudden, I began making a lot more money. That allowed me...
So what's confusing here, just in this part, it's talking about Graham's journey, and Graham's journey and my journey are very similar. He went to real estate, I went to cars. I do come from a more successful family. However, we were given a hard time and a minimum wage job with the potential of commission, and I rocked the shit out of that job. Broke records, was the only person to be going to school in college, even though I didn't finish, and be number one in the entire company in sales, kicking freaking veterans' butts that have been there 30 years. And then that journey continued as I became a manager. It wasn't because, of this or that or who we know or this. It was all about how much work, how much effort, and a 22-year-old kid skull drug. I don't know if that's a good thing to say, but I drugged them, the adult people that I was competing with, through the mud in finance. And I broke every single record. My first record I ever broke was in my first 3 months. This is a 36-year-old company, and I broke it as a 22-year-old kid in 3 months on the job. I'd love to tell you that story. If you ever want to hear it, I'm really getting pumped up listening to Graham's story. I hope there's still some entry-level stuff, and if not, maybe I'll make a video like that, because I know he will make an even better video, but you'll like mine as my point of view as well. But I'm telling you, broke records over records over records over records. And I literally didn't lose 1 month nor year for 3 entire years straight. I'm still regarded as the #1 finance manager we've ever had at our dealerships. And then not only that, went into sales management, and I've made 20 managers. Another person in the last 2 months, 2 of my previous people that were on my sales team that I hired personally have now become managers. I not only love being successful, I love helping other people become successful. It's pumping me up. Let's get back in the video.
In terms of the practical steps that you could take along with the blueprints that everyone else is able to follow, here's what I recommend. Number 1, if you're going to do this in 10 years, you need to save as much money as possible. As simple as it might be to say, without this part...
Treat your money like soldiers. You need to send those soldiers into battle instead of just obliterating them.
The entire plan fails. And when it comes to building up your net worth, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make, but instead how much of it you actually get to keep. I can't even begin to tell you how many people I've seen making $500,000 a year and
They don't have income problems. They got spending problems.
% above what they deposit in their accounts. And others aren't even able to save any money on $500,000 a year. So if you want to know the secret about how I was able to become a millionaire in my 20s, it was because I lived as though I was broke and spent as though I was making the bare minimum. Even today, I buy used cars that don't depreciate in value. I only spend the money that my investments make. I don't...
Or you get a free Rolex. Once again, Graham, shout out to Grant. Like, why can't we just be like, and then my buddy Grant, like...
Putting yourself that much closer to reaching $1 million. The second, if you're going to do this in 10 years, you also have to make a lot of money. From my experience, if you want to speed up the process...
No excuses. Ryan Trahan's video. Amazing. Beautiful. Yeah. Dedication. Gotta eat. Yeah. I believe him. Did it all himself. Love it. He's very honest, very nice, very awkward.
A lot, pick a career that's not dependent on how many hours you work. Even if you ignore the rest of the video and only focus on one thing, let it be this because it's so important. Anytime you work a career that pays you based on a certain amount of hours, most likely you'll plateau rather quickly before hitting a ceiling. But as soon as you begin working in a career that pays you based on results or tasks, your income could skyrocket because the number of hours don't make a difference. For me, I did this by working as a real estate agent because...
Pausing. I tell people all the time, 24/7, find a job that not pays you for the hours that you punch, but for what you produce. Dave Ramsey says it best. We're watching Graham and Dave's videos in the last few weeks. It says, what more will you bring to the marketplace? Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better, but don't just wish. Goal it out, set it, make an action plan, and execute it. Graham, keep on going, bro.
It didn't matter if I worked 2 hours or 200 hours. If the house didn't sell...
The fakest phone call ever is what that was.
I wasn't getting paid. So it was really up to me to utilize my time efficiently and create a schedule that maximized how much money I was able to make. Personally, I think sales are one of the most underrated careers out there because it often serves as a stepping stone to making more money while teaching you everything you need to know about customer service, time management, and efficiency. Now, of course, if you're not the type who wants to get into sales, but you still want something stable while being able to earn earn more money, just consider this. It was found that employees who switch jobs every 2 to 3 years make twice as much as the person who stays within the same company. So consider switching careers, leveraging your skills, or learning something new to earn more money, especially now while many businesses are experiencing a shortage of talent and willing to pay anything possible to find the right person. Although overall, I will say that most people that you hear about who are able to make a lot of money relatively quickly do so by starting a business. They saw an unfulfilled niche and created a solution.
Keep in mind, it's a lot tougher than you think. So I like the advice. However, it is a lot tougher than you think. Most businesses do not make it. Make sure you do a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, but also a lot of doing. Don't just sit there and think about being great. Start being great.
Solution to a problem, or they saw an existing business and figured out a way to do it better. Obviously, this is a huge risk and a big time commitment, but if you find an industry that scales quickly, you can make a huge amount of money. And finally, before we go into the practical step-by-step blueprint, number 3, realistically, you're also going to have to invest your money. The fact is, even though I kept my expenses extremely low and scaled my income throughout my early 20s, I would not have become a millionaire by 26 if I didn't invest. As an example, just
In real estate, let me be specific on that. He's getting away from real estate, more real estate. Don't over leverage in real estate. Don't over extend your portfolio to where it's only real estate, but real estate.
consider this. If you want to save your way to $1 million in 10 years, you're going to have to put away $273 a day or $8,333 a month to make that a reality. But if you invest your money instead, you could get there with only $158 a day or $4,750 a month, averaging an 8% return. Although at the same time, I get it. Even though it's nice to think about how simple this would be in a hypothetical scenario, investing $4,750 a month is easier said than done. This requires that you keep $57,000 a year after taxes and not including your own cost of living, like housing, car payments, insurance, everything.
I like how we're using Dan Bilzerian for this one. Cost of living. Mike Tyson has him beat, but Dan Bilzerian spends a lot of money.
Everything else, it adds up. Plus, if you're able to actually save $57,000 a year after taxes, chances are you're already making between $100,000 and $120,000 a year while also being excessively frugal at the exact same time. Of course, some people might say, but Graham, I'm able to make a 15% return on my money and do that on much less.
Great.
My buddy makes 30% a month on his crypto.
600% on crypto. Like, stop it. When I made 600%, I didn't sell it.
First, cut back as many expenses as you possibly can. Figure out the bare minimum that you need to survive, along with some discretionary income thrown in every now and then, and from that point on, everything you make will be automatically invested. Second, determine how you can make more money. Perhaps look into switching careers, learning a trade, taking on a side hustle, or starting on a part-time home business. The fact is, it's not going to be possible if you're earning under $50,000 a year, but the good news is that there are plenty of ways to make more money if you're willing to put in the time. Third, once you have enough money saved up, I would highly recommend you either reduce or eliminate your housing expense altogether by doing what's called house hacking. This is where you buy a multifamily property like a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, and then you rent them out while living in one of the units.
I personally think on this sector of what he's talking about, I like the duplex approach. You can get a duplex that still has 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms if you want to build it specifically for you and the family. 4 bedrooms are way harder to rent. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, sweet spot. But if you have a family, you have to accommodate for this. But you can make it to where you do that, have the other unit, nobody's your roommate besides whoever you actually are married to, have as your roommates, your children, and you don't have to have actual some random roommate. And the other person typically will pay the entire mortgage by actually having that property if you put enough money down, do things right, and do what I call recession proof, which is buy a property with 20% down, whether you build it or buy it, not 20% in equity, 20% down, right? So buy it good, put some money down, don't go after the units that have been on the market for 3 days, go after the ones that have been on the market for like 30 to 100 days and put your offer in. After they've been sitting for even longer, figure out why they're sitting. Offer even less, keep pushing, keep growing, and paint that wall. Do this little thing that nobody else wants to do and make your huge $1 million net worth on real estate on very, very small deals that add up to big profits. Duplex is the best way. That's what I was going for. Went off on a little rant.
Typically, when you do this right, the other units will pay for your entire cost of living, allowing you to stay there for free while getting to buy a property at the exact same time. Instantaneously, that could free up your entire housing payment. And just by saving...
Last step right there, anything less than 5 units, so 4 units or less, you are able to do a 30-year fixed mortgage. 4 units or more, you got to go commercial. So remember that too when you're looking at these basics as well.
That 20 to 50% difference, you're going to be on track to $1 million net worth that much faster. And fourth, if you have an interest in house hacking, you could repeat that process every 18 to 24 months. For example, banks allow you to get a low-interest, fixed-rate loan as a primary residence up to 4 units as long as you intend to live in the property for the first year. That means you could buy a cash-flowing property, move in one of the units.
That wasn't. He's smoking. His advice is smoking. I'm right there, bro. I see you, bro. Good job, bro.
Wait for another one to come along, buy that, rent out the previous unit, and start the process over again while gaining equity and cash flow at the exact same time. Or if that's not your thing, at the very least, if you do this once, it's possible to reduce your housing expenses significantly so that way you could invest the difference. But I get it, since everyone wants specific numbers to follow, here you go. If you're 20 years old and you want $1 million by the time you're 30, you'll have to invest $4,750 a month at an 8% return. So if you could find a way to average $120,000 a year before taxes while living off $3,000 a month, you could achieve that goal. Of course, like I mentioned, some investments might help speed this up depending on how involved you want to be, like with real estate. If you're able to save up $50,000, you could use that to buy and renovate a $250,000 2 to 4 unit building. If you find the right deal, a strategic renovation should be able to increase that property's value to 3.
By the way, me and Graham are very, very close. Graham also believes 20% down is the right way to go. But the views and the clicks, you got to talk about the basic stuff and the entry point because there's more people looking to do that than 20% down. So I'm just letting you know, Graham does believe in the same things I believe in. He just talks about the other stuff more because it gets the views. It does the thing. So, and rightfully so. I need to start talking about things that get the views more versus like how to actually be successful. So that way at least I get more people viewing and then they can dive in deeper. I think that'd be good.
$300,000, and all of a sudden you've doubled your initial investment. All of a sudden, if you're able to replicate that strategy every 18 to 24 months, you could reach $1 million a lot faster. Now, if this seems far-fetched, this was literally the example of Mike Rosehart, who I had on my channel a few years ago. He's a prime example of someone who grew to $1 million portfolio while working a day job without any crazy income. He just lived extremely frugally, invested everything he could, did a lot of the work himself, and learned as he went along.
Time, effort, commitment, and endless, boundless resolve. I added that one. You know my other 3. But, I mean, you know, you got to keep pushing. Find that goal. Find that why you're doing this, the reason I get out of bed, the reason I keep saving this money, and it gets a whole lot easier. Whole lot easier, especially once you get a little ahead and you can start investing that money to make you money, to make even more money.
But fine, what about for everyone else who doesn't have an interest in doing that and doesn't make $120,000 a year? Well, the honest answer is, if you're already saving as much money as you can and you don't have enough discretionary income left over, then you'll have to increase your income by either shopping around the job market, learning a new skill, or taking on a side hustle. At the end of the day, building up a $1 million portfolio is all about the numbers, and even though your spending tends to be the easiest to control to point you in the right direction, your income is going to be the speed at which you hit your target. So by lowering your overhead while increasing your income and diligently investing the difference, you could work backwards to be a millionaire in 10 years without being any more complicated than that. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching.
So this video is a little bit more of a story with some points to it. I love it. I might actually take this format and dive in a little deeper to it. I've got a lot of cool content. I am working tirelessly right now to get caught back up to where I can start making some really thoughtful content again for you guys versus some just solid content. I really think my content's still pretty good. I appreciate all your comments. Thank you so very much for watching. Hopefully comment below if I added value to Graham's video. And I know we talk about a lot of the same things, which is one of the reasons why we're very good friends. So all that being said, I 100% believe in you. Good luck on your journey to being a millionaire in 10 years or less. Or it's okay to miss it a little bit and be at 10 years or more to an extent. I hope you have a fantastic afternoon. I believe in you, and I'll see you later.